Good morning guys, it's Sophie. So I'm in a proper reading slump right now and I'm actually not that stressed about it. I'm going to film a currently reading video that will be up at some stage soon, and I'll talk to you about what I'm reading and what I'm feeling about it and all of those sorts of things. But I wanted to make a video today about everything apart from the books I'm reading, because I've actually quite enjoyed having this slump. It's been a while since I've had a little break from reading and I was kind of thinking, what should I film, knowing that I haven't read so much, and I do still have a September wrap up to do. But I thought it'd be nice, just with where I am right now, to chat about things that aren't books, because that's kind of where my head is. So it's kind of like a bit of a favourites and kind of less like, what have I been up to that isn't reading? So I thought I'd do music first. I really like specific types of music and there's two artists that have had what I've been listening to recently. One of them's definitely had a new EP out. I don't know if the other one has or whether it's just been publicised a lot. But the first is Hozier. Now, I love Hozier and his last music came out in like 2014 or something, and it's been a longer wait since he's made anything new, and he's just released, I think it's 4 new songs. My favourite of those is Shrike, and I'll link that one down below, and I've just been listening to it on repeat. I love his voice, I think he's incredible, and he's so, his like sound sounds so good live as well, like all the live recordings, and he's someone I'd love to go and see play, so I'm going to keep my eye out for that. I think he's one of the few people like that I would really want to go and see while they're making music, if that makes sense. Like, I don't go to a lot of gigs now, they're expensive and I end up spending way too much on like band t-shirts and stuff, but there are some artists that I really want to go and see and have done that because I love them so much, and Hozier is one of them, and I've just really been enjoying just listening to his music and having some new stuff of his back in my life again. And the other is a woman called Freya Ridings, and she's got a really similar like folky but really powerful voice, and I love it, and the two of them together is so good because it's like that really powerful male voice, that really strong female voice, and I found her because I was going through a Hozier binge and she did a cover that I listened to and I just adore her voice. Her last song, I think it's called Without You, but let me just check. It's called Lost Without You, and that's the one that I'd listen to most, I would say, but I'm just loving both of them, and it's just really nice to have music that moves me, I think, and yeah, just really loving having those and like actively listening to them. And then next is some podcasts. So I have a 2-hour commute in and out of work every day, like in total, and so that leaves quite a lot of dead time where I can't really do anything but I can listen to stuff, so podcasts are really important. I'm actually wearing my favourite murder t-shirt, which you probably can't see, but yeah, I really like podcasts in and out, but I've been listening to the same for quite a while now, like a few months, and I kind of thought I need to branch out a little bit and listen to a few more. And I tend to like choose one and listen to as much of it as I can, like try and go through the backlist, so it takes me quite a while, but I would love to know of any like more storytelling podcasts. I did a video about them a long while ago, but just any new ones, like which ones are really good. I know there's a new serial out, but I've heard a kind of mixed things. Is it worth a listen? Just that kind of like investigative journalism thing. I loved like S-Town, obviously everybody loves Serial, but do you know what I mean, like those kind of things I'm really into at the minute. But there's 2 that I've been listening to recently that I really wanted to share with you guys because I've just really been enjoying them, and the first is called Dr. Death. It's a 5-part investigative journalism series about a doctor in Dallas who is just a terrible surgeon, and he paralyzes people, they die, they end up with like unbearable pain, but he's practicing, and it's about the group of people who are trying to draw attention to him causing harm and how difficult that is in the medical system, and how the way the system is set up can sometimes protect people more than it should do in those kind of cases, and it's just so well done. They have really immersive sound, which I really appreciated, like little details, like when they're at a party, like in the story, they will play what sounds like a party underneath, and the music's really low, but you can still hear what the presenter's saying, but it just gives you this feel and brings you really close. I just thought it was really cleverly done. They are made by Wondery, who did Dear John as well, so they're really worth checking out. It's really quite unsettling. Some people find it really horrifying and terrifying. I didn't find it terrifying, but I just found it uncomfortable to listen to, but I wouldn't recommend if you're about to go into surgery, because it might be a bit too much. And the other one that I've been listening to recently is one that I heard about through Twitter. They made an episode which I think was called like a bumper book special or something, where they were recommending a load of different books they'd read. And it's called The High Low, and it's presented by two ladies who are quite posh, and I quite like that. I have quite a lot of different podcasts, and I like that these ladies are like, they're kind of a bit kind of Twittery in the best way, not like Twitter the app, but like kind of like, oh, I wonder what that is, oh, I think it might be that, let's have a talk about that. It's just really like nicely energetic, but I like just the way that they talk with one another. I find it quite funny. It's quite overly polite sometimes, and then it makes it almost more shocking when they then talk about like the female orgasm, which, why does it need to be called a female, whatever. And they talk mostly about like current affairs, newsy stuff. The thing they do I really like is they read out particular pieces of journalism they've really enjoyed from like traditional news outlets, and I follow very few traditional news outlets, and I'm not someone who's going to go and like pore over the weekend papers, though I used to read the newspaper like every single day when I was a kid, up until I was 18. And I really loved that, like going through all the back articles and all the feature pieces and stuff, but they kind of read the best of from the week often to like highlight their points, and that's lovely. And I've heard of a lot of print content or online content that I normally wouldn't be aware of, and I think that's what I've enjoyed the most. They do have some opinions and thoughts that I don't align with, and I think that's quite positive. I had quite a long conversation about J.K. Rowling with my boyfriend after they spoke very highly of her, and in my circles there are some things that J.K. Rowling is deciding to do post Harry Potter fandom that are very problematic, and I was quite surprised to hear her spoken about so positively when what I hear now is mostly critical, for I think good reason. But I also think it's valuable for me to listen to other people who maybe don't think that, and see whether or not that adds any dimension to my own opinion. So I've really been enjoying The High Low. I've only really just started listening to it. I've only listened to like 6 episodes or something, and as I say, I'm someone who tends to listen to like everything. I'll go back, I'll listen to the first few and then I'll go back through the backlog and go through. So that's my kind of plan with The High Low. But any other like chatty ladies talking about interesting things would be recommended as well if you've got any podcasts you love. And next I have TV, and I don't watch TV. Like, if you looked at all of the things I do, like I'll sometimes binge watch series that I love, and actually I'll talk about one more in here than I was planning on. I'll sometimes go back and watch old series that I love, but like terrestrial TV or like tuning in, it just doesn't happen anymore. I don't actually have Netflix. I use my boyfriend's Netflix, but sometimes I'll go and watch a few TV shows on there, but it's pretty rare. Like most of the time I just don't watch much TV. I watch much more when I'm with him, because he's a lot less into reading than I am and couldn't sit and read for like 4 hours, so we tend to just do like an hour and then some TV and whatever. But I've been listening to some, watching some on my own, and the first one of those that I watched was something that I was just like, just fancy something different, and I went on BBC iPlayer and was like, I'm going to look for a good drama, and what I ended up watching was Missing. And Missing is the story of a 13-year-old girl who's abducted from her school and is held in a cellar for 13 years. And we follow her character when she's escaped from it. So we don't see the capture, we don't see that time. We are dealing with the repercussions of that, the police investigation and her response to this trauma. And I really enjoyed it. There were bits that were a bit kind of unbelievable, but I thought overall I really liked the way the police were. I liked a lot of the bureaucracy to it, and again that's a different focus to sort of desperately trying to escape things. I liked that it was kind of trauma based as a thriller, and I would recommend it if you were into that kind of thing. And the other thing I've been watching that I have to talk about, because I think I watched about 6 hours of it last night, which I cannot tell you when the last time I did that was. It would have been probably like nearly 5-10 years ago at some stage in that 5-10 year mark. I don't do this, and it's just been something I didn't expect to fall into and have completely fallen into. So it was actually on an episode of The High Low. They were talking about the fact that Big Brother is being cancelled completely, and they were talking about how it's kind of, you know, everyone feels it's gone downhill and not a lot of people tune in anymore, and it was kind of expected. And they shared a couple of the best bits that from their memories of Big Brother, and a little bit around the guy who originally produced Big Brother, talking about why it was so transgressive and what was the value and what are the archetypes in Big Brother. And I was like, one night after listening to it, I was like, I'm gonna look at some funny bits and see what I remember, and managed to like fall into watching Celebrity Big Brother 1, which is only a week. It's only like 5 episodes, or 6 episodes, something. And one of the bits that they'd spoken about was around Vanessa Feltz, and that was what I started watching it for, to see her reaction and understand what they were talking about. And I just ended up getting into it to the point where when I finished it, I was like, I'm gonna watch the latest series of Big Brother. This is so not me. Like, TV is not me. Reality TV is so rarely me. And yesterday I had a bit of a positive stress, but a bit of a stressful few days. I'm making lots of really hard decisions and having to think really carefully about what I say and what I do and what I want for my future, and just these really quite heavy things I've been trying to figure out. And to just turn it off and just watch this really mind-numbing thing felt like such a treat, and it just was a distraction for me from worrying and overthinking. And I'm really enjoying it. I'm like 5 or 6 episodes in, and I'm glad I'm watching the last one. I watched the first one when I was like 10, and thought it was absolutely brilliant. As I say, it's not really my kind of thing. It's not something I tune into often, but I feel like it's quite fun to do, especially because it is the last one. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. I don't know who I want to win yet, if anyone is watching it, though I'm always rooting for like the oddballs of the group. There are some outrageously attractive people that they bring onto reality television, and I don't know that that was such a thing when it began. Like, I was a bit surprised. I was like, who are these humans? But I don't really want them to. I'd much rather have one of the more normal oddball people win, but we'll see how it goes. I feel a bit embarrassed even saying it, because it feels like such an antithesis to what I'm normally about, but sometimes it's nice to have that balance. And in a weird way, and it is a weird way, sometimes doing stuff like that can push me, because I have these things I hold myself to about using my time so wisely and not wasting any of it and using it to further myself. And this definitely isn't that, but sometimes that's good and positive. So yeah, I've been watching a lot of Big Brother. And the last TV show, because I was going to talk about the other one, is my boyfriend and I have started watching House through. We are nearly finished with season 1. It's my favourite television show, so I've seen it probably 3 or 4 times, like the whole way through. I've watched season 1 more times than that, just because if you watch it with people, often you start with season 1. But he's never seen it before. He watched like half an hour of the pilot or something and was like, meh. And he's absolutely loving it, which is brilliant. We've both had a little cry already, and I just can't wait. I just know how good it gets. And yeah, we are having kind of slightly long weekends with one another at the moment. We've managed to figure out a way to see each other just a little bit more. And House is like our staple of our diet at the moment in terms of TV. And I'm going to his after I film these videos and get some meds, so there'll be more House this weekend as well. And then I've just got like a few activities I've been doing and things I've liked recently. The first one I think is in common with like everybody at this time of year, but I really like burning candles, and I burn them throughout the year, but my favourites are like the autumny smells, like this really sweet ones that kind of smell like baking. I really like baking scented things. So I got 3, I don't have them with me, but I got 3 candles from Home Sense, which is like the same as TK Maxx, and I just liked having that coziness back, and that kind of autumnal cold candle on feels a bit more appropriate. I've got like a candle thing, it's downstairs where I would just spin, but it's like a kind of cage that the candle goes in, because the cat is really curious about flickering lights, and she's already nearly set her tail on fire once. It was a while ago, but I'm still traumatised. So the candles are always in the cat cage so that she can't get at them or get close to them. All that happened last time, just in case anyone's worried about the cat, was that she was sitting up on the same counter as a candle was burning, and she was flicking her tail like over the top of the candle, and she she didn't hurt her skin, but she like crinkled up her hairs, like, you know, when you smell burning hair, because it was just too close to it on one of the like little sweeps. She was fine. I was very worried. I dumped her in cold water immediately, but she was fine. But from that, she's never really been like bad with it before, and I burnt them throughout having her, so I didn't really think about it, but now I'm on it. But I love having it, and it's nice to know that I can enjoy it and it doesn't bother Foster or hurt Foster. The other thing I've been doing a lot of is cross stitching. I'm actually going to get up quickly and show you my pattern. So whenever I'm watching TV, I am not able to just sit and watch it. Even if it is more engaging, even if it's stuff like house, I need to do something with my hands. I think that is a side effect of reading and turning pages, that I feel really fidgety if I'm engaging in entertainment but not moving my hands. So cross stitch and knitting are what I've normally been doing. And I thought I'd just show you this little one that I've been working on recently. There will be flowers just up here if you can't quite tell what they are. I got that one from Etsy. They do loads of like more modern knitting cross stitch patterns if you're not into like pastoral scenes and stuff. And yeah, I've been doing that one. Like, I did it for the 6 hours I was doing Big Brother yesterday, and it was just really nice. Yeah, I don't know that I'll buy another one just because I'm trying really hard to save money at the minute, but I've really enjoyed doing it, and maybe it will be like a bit of a treat if I can manage to save a certain amount or something. But they are quite expensive, they're like £20 or something for a pattern. Or maybe I can find some way to do it cheaper, but whatever. I've really been liking that. Another thing I've been really enjoying is Audible, and I've had Audible for a really long time, and I've had subscriptions on and off to Audible. And whilst I'm in this reading slump, because of that travel time, audiobooks have just been fabulous. And I did buy a few. They're really expensive and I never buy them, so it's a bit of like a treat again, and it's not something I'm going to do regularly, but I think I'm going to keep my Audible subscription. So I've got one audiobook per month to listen to. I listened to Washington Black, back and forth, and Snap. And whilst I didn't enjoy Snap, if you've watched my review, I really enjoyed listening to something and like a continual storyline, and because I did enjoy Washington Black, that was really nice, and it made my journeys fly when I was doing it, more so than podcasts. So I really liked that experience, and it's probably the best way of listening to audiobooks I've found. When I kind of try and listen to them and knit or sew, which is what I tend to do, I quite often find I get distracted and go off in my own head, but with the driving I feel like I'm much less likely to do that, so it makes me feel so much better about that drive time. So I've got a library card. I might try and see if I can sign up for my library's audiobook scheme, because I do have one, it's just a bit complicated and I can't figure it out online, to see if I can get some for the car for free, rather than having to pay like whatever ridiculous quantities it is for audiobooks, like £18 or something for one. So that is kind of one other thing I've really liked, and then I've just got one left. I've saved it for last because it's probably the thing I've enjoyed the most, and it's yoga. Now I'd tried yoga a few times and had always been really worried I was going to hurt myself doing it, because I think a lot of the poses are uncomfy. I've never done it in a studio. I don't know quite how you're supposed to do them. I'm kind of learning as I go, but I've been doing it recently and I've been doing it regularly, and probably for about a month and a half now, I would say, and I'm just loving it. I didn't expect for it to have such an impact on my mood, on my focus, on just how I feel day to day. I thought it would just feel like exercise, and it doesn't, and I've got real problems with exercise, and I don't know how much of this I've spoken about with all of you, or how long ago I've spoken about it, how many of you will know, but when I had issues with my eating, exercise was one of my biggest ways of like purging or over exercising, and I exercised for like 4 or 5 hours on a go, and it really screwed me up. It really, like, my heart hurt really badly. I'd end up like in tachycardia, and traditional exercise has all of these really negative connotations for me, and I find it so hard to do it without my head just going straight back to that space. And for a long time I just kind of said like, okay, well, you can do walking, but probably like more scheduled exercise you can't do, because you've kind of fucked your association with it in your head. And so it's really nice to have something that, even if it is gentle and it's not like a cardio thing, that I really like, and I'm doing it because I like it, and it doesn't feel like I'm doing something horrid to myself. And it's just been lovely, and I think that the attitude of people who do the yoga on YouTube is just so lovely as well. The person I use most is someone called Sarah Beth Yoga, because I am a beginner. She has quite a lot of beginners sort of flows, and then she also has an intermediate once a week that I've been using more recently as a bit more of a challenge, and there's a lot of poses I can't do at all yet, but I can normally do the modifications, and it's just really valuable for me to do. I've started taking my yoga stuff to Tom's every weekend so that I can do it like on a Saturday night and on a Sunday morning. I sometimes try and get up before work and do it, but more often I'll get home and do it straight away, and it just centres me and brings me down, and I'm just really looking forward to keeping going with it. I didn't think I'd like it as much as I did. I thought it might be quite fun but hard work, rather than just thinking like this is good for me, and it feels really good for me. So whilst I haven't been reading a lot, I have been doing quite a lot, and I know that it can be sometimes quite interesting to hear about what the person is like behind the books, and that's why I thought I'd make this video, because what's a better time than when you aren't reading so much. Yeah, let me know in the comments down below any of those podcast recommendations or anything else that you want to comment about this video, and I'll see you guys soon in another one. Bye.